Hi, I'm Phyllis Lang. Welcome to Nightwear. This video will cover instrumentation in Deep Sky Planner. It could be that you want to include instrumentation in your logged observations, or it could be that you want to watch the instrumentation while you observe or image. So I will start off with setting up our instrumentation. And then I'll move on to how to use it in other parts of the product. So I want to show first the use of a sky quality meter with Deep Sky Planner. And the way that we set it up is in Equipment Observer. And as you can see, there's an entry for sky quality meters. So I already have two set up for my system. This is the one that I will be using for this demonstration, and I've given it a special name. To change the settings, you can edit the entry. I've given it a name. This is the SQM-LU model, which is connected to the system via a USB cable. Thus, we need to assign a COM port. That will be assigned by your Windows system. You can look at your device manager to help find it if you need to. Sometimes you want to have the darkness value from the sky quality meter automatically read and update your screen. At the moment, I have no repeating, and we will simply read it one time. Those of you who have enclosure offsets for your sky quality meter know that this value, at least in the enclosure that unihedron cells, is 0.11. My meter currently is simply in my desk drawer and it has no enclosure. So I'm going to set this value to 0. So if I save these settings, I can test the connection parameters by clicking Test. And as you can see, it did communicate with the device, so I have everything set up correctly. So I'm going to close this configuration dialog box and show you how you can use the sky quality information as you observe or as you log your observations. Now, I would like to view the sky quality meter data constantly as I observe, and that is shown in the equipment panel at the top of this screen. I need to configure the sky quality meter to be read automatically throughout the night. So to do that, I need to open the sky quality meters dialog box, and I want to configure this to be read every 5 minutes. You can choose every 5, 10, or 15, or none. Now, I often hear from people who feel like the sky quality meter should be read every few seconds or every 1 minute. Now, if you're in a very dark place, it will take longer than that, a few seconds or even a minute, to integrate a proper reading. So knowing that, I set this to repeat every 5 minutes. So I'm going to save the 5-minute setting, and I'm going to open my equipment bar so that I can see the readings as they go constantly. You should see the readings here, but right now we have no darkness data available. And that's because I have not set the darkness conditions to be read constantly. The way you can do that is by choosing Read from Sky Quality Meter. Now, when I close this, a reading will be acquired. And as you can see, the contents of the reading appear here. And this icon tells you that you are automatically reading the meter constantly. And for those who aren't familiar with sky quality meter readings, you can see it's fairly dark in my desk drawer. So we will see the readings acquired constantly here as we observe. Now, another use of instrumentation within Deep Sky Planner would be to read the device and place the reading into a logged observation. So I want to add an observation to the observing log and make sure that the sky quality meter reading is in the logged observation. So there are several ways to add an observation to the log. For this particular demonstration, I'm going to open the observing log browser and add an observation. So there's our observation browser form. I think I'll add a new observation. I looked at a lunar eclipse last night. So my proper session, it was on March 14th. So I need to add that. And here we go. It was about 3 a.m. local time when I observed. So I'm going to change this to 3 a.m. And I don't know how long I observed. So I'm just going to leave the stop time at 3 a.m. It was local time. So I'm going to save that. I used no instrument to observe. So I want to set this to none. I did not use an eyepiece, so I'll set it to none. And then the rest of these items are correct. The location method, it was actually none because I just looked outside. And I'm going to call this moon. And it is found in the database. Calculations are made and shown. Now, in order to show you the sky quality meter reading entry form, I want to go to this tab, and I have several uh, different methods for recording darkness. You can use a personal rating if you want. You can use a Bortle estimate if you want. But I have a sky quality meter attached to the system. So I'm going to go over here to read. It acquires the data from the meter and automatically records it in the dialog box. So that would show you how to get an automatic reading on your display and an on-demand reading in your observing log. So another type of instrumentation supported in Deep Sky Planner is a weather device. I have currently gotten a small, very small, astronomy.ch M box. It is connected to my computer by a USB cable. I regularly observe with that attached because, as you will see in a moment, we have dew point calculations and ambient temperature calculations. And that helps me to decide whether to cover up optics or not. Some of you will use this to help focus your images. So there are more than one reasons to use a weather device just to keep yourself informed. So in order to connect this device, I have loaded ASCOM 7 onto this system, and I have found an ASCOM driver for this particular device. I have installed all that, and now I need to configure Deep Sky Planner to use it. To do so, I come again to the Equipment and Observer menu item, and I come down to Weather Devices on the menu. I have set this device up in the past. It is the one and only one that I use, but you could, of course, have several. It is my favorite, as you can see by the blue star, and I can edit the settings for the box to check it out. Now, if you use ASCOM regularly to command your device, your mount, you will know about the ASCOM chooser dialog box, and you will know that we need to look at the properties of the particular device so that we'll be able to see the device chosen in the application, which in this case is Deep Sky Planner. Now, you will see the properties setup box, and this only has the serial port to which it is attached. Now, I said a moment ago it was a USB cable attaching to my computer. A serial port number is assigned by Windows for this USB connection, and it happens to be on my system to be COM4. Now, you can check this by accepting COM4 and accepting the configuration, and I can test to make sure that it is configured correctly. And there is a short wait because of the delay interval, and I can see that the data presented here looks reasonable for my particular location, which is inside my office. So I want to save the settings, and I want to close the configuration box. With our weather device configured for automatic reading, I'd like to show how to display that data automatically and continuously throughout the observing session. So I need to click the equipment bar button again and choose weather conditions. At the moment, we have no weather conditions being displayed. I'd like to read automatically from the weather device that I've configured. So that should allow the device to be read, and after the short delay, the reading appears here on the equipment bar. The temperature, humidity, and dew point are shown, and also this icon tells you that this is an automatically occurring reading that will continue to show. Now, if you are an imager, you'll find that this temperature data is extremely important for you in refocusing your camera and system throughout a night's observing. As a visual observer, I usually use these data to help warn me of the dew point. If the dew point is coming very close to the ambient temperature, I know that I better cover my optics or I will be removing dew. Now, if you want to include weather information in your observing log, once again, we'll go and we'll look at the observing log menu and open the observation browser. And once we do that, I'm going to want to edit the last observation that we have here. I'm going to add weather information to this particular observation. So the weather conditions are going to be on the Weather Conditions tab. We can read the weather conditions from the the weather device, and we can also extract weather data from a website. Now, if you don't have a weather device, looking at the weather conditions on a nearby website will have to suffice. However, I have the device, so I click read, and after a short delay, it will become available in this particular observation. The temperature is rounded, humidity is rounded, and here we have the dew point. So you can save these information items with any observation. Another type of instrumentation supported by Deep Sky Planner is the push-to feature, which is used by people with Dobsonian reflectors and digital setting circles, primarily to find objects. The way you can do this is to open the Equipment and Observer menu and select the Digital Settings Circles item. This will allow you to configure the connection that you will use. I support Argo Navis, serial connection, and TCP, the Nexus DSC, and the Sky Commander. I personally am using the Nexus DSC at the moment. So let's have a look at configuring that. The Nexus DSC ships either with a serial only connection or it can be ordered with a Wi-Fi card in it, which is what I have. So I would choose TCP/IP connection and set up the IP address and the port number. These are the default values in the Nexus device, so I've kept those the same. And I should mention the Enable Push-to checkbox because that will allow you to select the one that is active when you observe. Only one can be selected at a time so that the system knows which communication protocol to implement. So we can test the connection if we like, and I'll save this configuration. Now that I have push-to configured for my digital setting circles, I can demonstrate its use by showing a Deep Sky search document, and I'll choose Messier. Now that I have a Messier catalog search open, I can run the search for my time and location, and I want to choose an object that's above the horizon at my time and location. All I need to do is right-click that item and select Push To. That will transmit the coordinates of the object to the device, and the device display will show me direction arrows so that I can push the telescope to that object.